Recording in progress.
Welcome back to Mataya Hawadat, the spirits, the waters, and the blood. Most definitely wanted to take a little bit of time out in order to talk about the curse on Canaan, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how that actually went. You know, so basically, I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. The curse on Canaan and how Canaan tied in with Esau. Most definitely, we are familiar with the biblical account where Esau was one of the individuals, or he was born with a hairy garment or hair like wool and ruddy or red and or reddish all over, um, and how individuals depict Esau. And it's true that Esau's bloodline carried throughout the European nations. So basically, it spread. Esau started off in Edom, and then he had the little Edomians, and then the next thing you know, his seed started to spill off into um, different nations. Nations, especially Ishmael, the Hittites, Hivites, and the Horites. The Horites are of Hor, and basically I'm tying all of these Indo-European nations all in together, and they basically do trace all the way to Esau and Esau's spread throughout the kingdoms. And we all know, familiar with Esau's role in when Rome destroyed the second temple, that Esau was the one that actually, or when Rome besieged Jerusalem, Esau was the one that set fire to the temple. All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and give thanks to the Father, Tawara Yahuwah Bahashem Hamashiach, in the name of the Savior, or in the name of the Hamashiach, our Most High Priest, Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Uvein Barakata Ruach Kodasheka, your Holy Spirit. So most definitely take the time out to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification for whenever I release new content, so therefore I share the information that I run across. Some of it I do it for entertainment, some of it not. Most definitely, everything that I use in my presentations are going to be for fair use, fair use, fair use. Most definitely don't want to take any credit for anybody else's research other than my own. And on this particular topic, I've done a ton of research. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to share my screen and jump right into it. With this right here, we're going to start off in with this right here, we're going to start off in Encyclopedia of the Bible, Japheth. And I'll come down to right here. Sometime after the flood, Noah planted a vineyard and became drunk from the wine that he had made. In a drunken stupor, he laid uncovered in his tent. His youngest son, Ham, Genesis 9:22 through 24, and 24, broke the contemporary moral code by looking upon his father's nakedness. Apparently, the episode came quite by accident, but intentionally or not, it was a sin in that time. Ham seems to have immediately told his brother what had happened. Shem and Japheth placed a garment on their shoulders and, walking backward, covered their father without looking upon him. Thus, they were not guilty of committing the sin. When Noah awoke and learned of the matter, he pronounced a curse upon Canaan. All right, he pronounced a curse upon Canaan. Curse upon Canaan, the son of Ham. All right, so now let's take a look at this particular curse, or I'm believing that it was more than just one curse involved. All right, Elihiah enlarged Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. All right, Elihiah enlarged Japheth, meaning Japheth's seed is many, going through the Indo-European continent, or through the European continent, basically, was particularly named European continent. All right, and so he let him dwell in the tents of Shem, meaning that he let Esau and Japheth in the house or the sanctuary of, when you look at your tent or your home, it's your private sanctuary, something that particularly belongs to you. So the father let Japheth dwell in the tents of Shem, meaning that the nations that's dwelling in the house of Israel nowadays, that's not them. And Canaan shall be his servant, or Canaan shall serve him. Canaan shall help him be his servant when the temple was destroyed. All right, so I won't go too deep in it. I'm just going to try. My main objective is to just go ahead and tie the European nations in with Esau and Japheth. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do I want to come out of here yet? All right, let's go ahead and jump on. And this is, you can read it for yourself. Encyclopedia of the Bible, Japheth. Encyclopedia of the Bible, Japheth. All right, so like I said, the New International Version, NIV, but you're probably going to get the same result no matter which one that you consult, but the wording may be a tad bit different. All right, so let's go to the next site. And this is coming from Blue Letter Bible Hub. First Chronicles, or not basically First Chronicles, but it's giving up the genealogy of the Horites. The sons of Seir. There's no apparent link between this series and the preceding comparisons of Genesis show that Seir represents the indigenous inhabitants of Edom, meaning that they were there in Edom before the Edomites. The inhabitants of the land compiled within Joshua before its conquest by the sons of Esau, So now we see that Esau conquered it or took over that particular nation. In time, a fusion of the two races will result, the tribes of each being governed by their own chieftains, as is indicated by Genesis 36, verses 20 and 21. Where the seven sons of Seir are called Chaldeans of the Horites, the sons of Seir in the land of Edom. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 22 implies not the actual extermination of the Horites, troglodytes, or cave dwellers by the Semitic invaders, the sons of Esau, but only their entire subjugation. The differences of spelling noticed in the margin are unimportant as regards to the names Zephi, Kron, Haman. All right, so they're going into the different names. But let's come over here. List of the descendants of Seir. These verses contain the names of 7 sons of Seir and 1 daughter, and of grandsons through every one of the 7 sons, viz. 2 through Lotan the first, 5 through Shebal the second, 2 through Zebulun the third, 1 through Anah the fourth one, 4 through Dishan the fifth, 3 through Azar the sixth, and 2 through Dishan the seventh son. All right, so now let's going into the 7 sons. The first question was arising is, who was Seir? Now first mentioned here, he is called in Genesis chapter 36 verse 20 Seir the Horite. And the only previous mention of the name Seir in the chapter in verse 8, thus dwell Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, while we read in Genesis 14 chapter 6 verse 6, chapter 14 verse 6, the Horites in Mount Seir. In Genesis chapter 32 verse Genesis chapter 32 verse 3, the land of Seir, the country of Edom. For anything we know of the person's self, then we are confined to these 2 notices, that in Genesis 36:20 and the one in our text, the name signifies rough, and whether Seir, the person, took the name from Seir, the place, a mountain district reaching from the Dead Sea to the Atlantic Gulf, or vice versa. It would seem plain that the proper name belonged to the head of the tribe, which he become located there, and was of course not in the line of Abraham. This tribe called Horites, Hora, Salathia. The Horites began the name of Seir's eldest son, or troglodytes, acquired their name from howling out in caves in the rocks, as at Patera. They were visited eventually by Esau. He married at least one of his wives from them, and his descendants, the Edomites, in due time depressed and suppressed them. Deuteronomy chapter 2 verse 12. No doubt some were left behind and contentedly submitted to the Edomites and became mingled with them. These considerations put together an account for the introduction here of the names of Seir and his 27 descendants, while the particulars of their genealogy, so far as here given, would lie easily to hand. The sons of Seir are called in Genesis also dukes, a word answered to by the later Shikhas, and they are called dukes of the Horites, or the dukes of Hora, among their dukes in the land of Self. The 26 and 27 names under notice agree in authorized version entirely with those in Genesis chapter 36 verse 20 through 27, except that for Hama, Alan, Sephiad, Amaram, and Jachan. Here we have Haman, Alavan, Shepho, Hemdan, and Akul there. Also in the Hebrew, the text agrees in the 2 places as regards these names, with the same expectation But in the Septuagint, the names differ much more in two places. And it illustrates the two places. So it's particularly talking about the particular, or the names, and how Horai and Horite and were kind of misconfused. With the name Anan is reached in Genesis, it is added. This was that Hannah that found the mules, more probably hot springs, as the finder of which Anah is supposed to have been called Beer or Beeri in the wilderness, as he fed the asses of Zebulun his father. And again, when Dishon is mentioned as the son of Anah, there is added, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, note, is made of her name, no doubt for the same kind of reason as Timnah is mentioned above. Aholibamah, Judith, the daughter of Beeri, the Hittite, which are actually Horites, enjoys notice in as much as she became the wife of Esau. So she became the wife of Esau, and Tamar, as she became the concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz. So now we have two Horite women that's called Hittites, but they're actually Horites, Indo-Europeans, and thereby the mother of Amalek. All right, so we're going. Do I want to go on? We're going to go here. When Esau with his descendants had settled in Mount Seir, they subdued by degrees the aboriginal inhabitants, the people that were there of the land, and became fused with them, started to mingle together with them into one people. Became fused with them into one people. For this reason, in Genesis 36:20 through 30, the tribal princesses of the Shirite inhabitants of Seirite or Shirite inhabitants, because their descendants, along with the Edomites. All right, for this reason, tribal princes of the Shirite inhabitants of the land are noticed in our chapter also. 1 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 38, the names of these seven, and in Chronicles of their sons, 18 men and one woman, or one woman, Timnah, are enumerated, where only Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, also mentioned in Genesis, is omitted. The names correspond except in the few unimportant points which have been already discussed in the commentary of Genesis. The inhabitants of Mount Seir consisted then after the immigration of Esau and his descendants, and 20 tribes under a like number of Phylaks, 13 of whom were Edomites. Edomites of the family of Esau, and 7 Seirites who are called in the Chronicle Shirah, Bachaya, and in Genesis, Harai. Troglodytes, inhabitants of the land, that is in Aborigines. It's Aborigines. So the Horai or Horites were already there. Alright, so I'm going to keep going a little bit further. I want to bounce through this because I have tons of information on this particular topic. So I want to just point out the obvious so that way I can keep rocking through it. Alright, so here we have the definition of seer. Shir or seer. Shir, the shin could give a S or a SH sound. Seer or shir. Seir, it means hair, from an unused word. Hair, hairs, hairy. Just like Esau, right? Hairy absolute or hair absolute construct. Let's go down. Probably also a man with a garment of skin. Salathia. So go down to the Strong's exhaustive coordinates. Hairy, rough. A Sierra. From Sierra, in the sense of disavailing hair, as if tossed or bristling hair, extra rough. It's like, but anyway. So after going through all of this, we come up and we still see the name Seir or Seir, associated with hair. Over like a hair, over like a hairy garment, a hairy called his name. A hairy called his name, but anyway. So basically of the body, and an infection of the flesh. And when the hair in the plague, Leviticus, the skin, the plague, hair, Seir, and the hair, the skin and the hair on it is not turned. The hair, the skin and the hair on it has not turned. Interesting. We have Ham, the progenitors of the dark races, but yet so far we're seeing Esau having Hittite wives or Hivite wives or Horite wives, and then if they're Horite, he has Hittite wives and Hivite wives, of course. And if Horites are of the Indo-Europeans, which were at the northern region of the steppes of the Caucasus, then basically they dwelled and settled down in the Mount Or. So now we see that the Edomites have moved into Mount Or and something's going on. Okay, the Edomites have moved down into Mount Or, and now they are intermingling and they became one people. So now we see that along with one of the characteristics, at least the Horites are hairy. The Horites are hairy, just like Esau. So I'm going to keep on going through it. All right, this is going on Indo-Europeans. And I'm going to come down to here. All right. Resulting in this notion that the Indo-European speaking peoples had a common homeland from which they migrated to various parts of Asia and Europe. The theory stirred intense speculation which continues to the present day regarding the original homeland and the periods of the dispersal from it. All right, meaning that you had a North branch Indo-European and then you had a Shemitic branch Indo-European. All of Japheth now. So basically, so now when they don't know which one, they're having they know which one it comes from. Is between the steppes, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So basically, they're trying to figure out or have debates on where these people could come from and they know who they are. They test the DNA. They have that with the Indo-Europeans, with the Yamnaya. All right, so now we have right here. The Jewish Encyclopedia. Where do I want to go in here? All right, just to give a little bit more information on the Horites. All right. Alright, Salafi. I'm trying to get a little comfortable. Feeling like kind of warm in here today. Alright, so now on the Horites. Region that took its name, the region that took its name from Seir the Horite, whose descendants occupied occupied it, followed by Edom and his descendants, or Esau and his descendants. The earliest reference to the name is found in the Harris Egyptian papyrus, in which Ramses III says in 1200 BC that he gained a victory over the Syrian, one of the Bedouin tribes, one of the Bedouin tribes of the desert. A distinction was at the time made between them and the Edomites. It has not been definitely decided whether the Syrites are identical with the Shirai mentioned in one of the Tel El Amarna tablets. The Oldest Testament makes no distinction between them and the Edomites. According to the Old Testament, the Horites occupied the country before the Edomites, and you'll find that in Genesis. And these statements do not contradict the Egyptian account, since the word Horite, cave dweller, is not the name of a certain tribe, but may be a designation for the Syrites. The Edomites probably conquered the country after 12,000 or 1200 BC. The Old Testament mentions most frequently the mountains of Seir, but the phrase "land of Seir" also occurs, as well as "sons of Seir," a later referring both to the original inhabitants, the Horites, and the Edomites populations. The name of Seir, when used alone, designates either the land of Seir or the inhabitants. This district, the mountains of Seir, is Esau's home, assigned to him and his descendants by Yahweh. Its location is given in Deuteronomy 2. And I'm not going to read the Roman numbers because anyway, the people of Israel skirted the mountains of Seir on the south as not to enter Edomite territory because the Father told them to. Then they followed the eastern edge northward to the steppes of Moab. Hence, the mountains of Seir lay on the east side of the Arabia. That is, the dip extended from the Dead Sea southward to the northern point of the Gulf of Aqaba. Mountains raised on both sides of the dip, those on the east being considerably higher than those on the west. One of the north mountains end in the depth cut of the Wadi al-Ashar, and on the south a step slope of the mountains from the natural boundary towards Moab, while on the east the hills slope towards the Syrian desert. Alright, so it's just going into the geographical boundaries or locations of the mountains, of the Mount Seir. Alright, so, and it shows back here you have Isaac, Mondex. Basically, this is just a time frame of which Moses and the other individuals of the world started to populate, but in their population quest. Put it like that. All right, so now let's go here. Baphomet, the patriarch of the Netherland Horite hybrids. Edomites? Well, they mixed with Edomites. As I continue my study, and this is from a particular person that did YahTruth.com, published by YahTruth.com on November 9th, 2021. As I continue my studies into the genealogy of Esau in Genesis 36, I am quite surprised at how much the Most High is showing me. The most common argument in Hebrew community is, who is Esau/Edom? This article is in no way an attempt to lay claim that Edom is a particular nation. For those who have proper understanding of the scripture know that Esau has mixed his nation with many nations. However, one nation in particular has specifically changed the Edomite race in one branch of Esau's family tree. That would be the intermarriage with the Horites. In Hebrew, Horite means white cave dweller. Indo-Europeans, Yamnaya, the Horites, Seir, clicking it all together, the Dukes of Seir. All right, Horite means white cave dweller. Who are the Horites and what makes them unique from other tribes? According to the Torah, the Horites were triglycerides, but scientists call this species Neanderthals. The Horites. Neanderthals. The Horites were Neanderthal human hybrids, which will be proven in this article. Yamnaya. Check out my video, Yamnaya. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Some biblical scholars try to explain away the Netherland Horite connection by saying that these cave dwellers were human-like everyone else in the region. But this is an attempt to hide the non-human Neanderthal origin of many subsequent descendants of these beings in the region, and the emergence of the white human hybrid tribes. All right. 6 in the white hybrid tribes, the white human hybrid tribes. Remember, all these years they were pretending that the regions was already populated with a so-called fair-skinned people, which is false. It was already inhabited by. All right, before the Indo-European, it was nobody because it was the flood. Thus, dwelt Esau in Mount Seir, or Seir. Esau is Edom, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomian in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the woman of Esau; Reuel, the son of Beshma, the woman of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Tesipho, and Gatam, and Quenez, and Timana was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to him Eliphaz, Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's woman. All right, Esau bore children with Hittite women named Adah, a Horite woman named Olivama, and a Ishmaelite named Basma. The Hittites and the Horite bloodline mixed through Esau's son Eliphaz, whose mother is a Hittite, and he begat children with a Horite concubine named Timana. And Timana was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to him Eliphaz, Amalek. And these were the sons of Adah, Esau's woman. Now, let's find out a little more about Seir. or Seir, the patriarch of the Horites, by digging deeper into ancient Hebrew word study of his name. These are the sons of Seir, the Chera or Chera, who inhabited the land of Lotan and Shoval and Tishban and Anak. Seir in ancient Hebrew means shaggy, hairy, demon-possessed goat, or hairy goat devil. Did you hear that? Seir in ancient Hebrew means shaggy, hairy, demon-possessed goat, or hairy goat devil. And it gives the different definitions, the breakdowns of it, the coordinates, some of that you can find it under, and information on, the Horites and the different Bible verses, how it's spelled in Paleo Hebrew, kid, goat, devil, satira, hairy, rough, rain. There's that word rough again. Alright, so what is the name of the hairy goat devil worshipped by these heathens for generations? Think about it. Baphomet. That's correct. Baphomet. This strange image seen throughout generations is a form of ancestor worship, idolatry by the descendants of the Edomites / Horites / or the Horite Neanderthal hybrids. Nor whether or whether or not Seir actually looked like that, this isn't as important as the fact that his name literally means shaggy, hairy goat devil, symbolized by the satanic idol Baphomet. And his descendants are at center stage of the center stage of the worst aristocracies in the world. And as we see here, the hairy goat demon. No more of that image. And all they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. They shall be a statute forever unto them. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. The devil, or the devils, that the Most High has commanded his children not to sacrifice to, is Seir, which is the name of the patriarch of the Horites. This verse, Leviticus, shows that the Baphomet worship is very ancient and has always been an issue amongst the children of Israel since ancient times. One form of sacrifice was through sex magic, by offering their virgin daughters to the Baphomet priest. This has contributed to the destruction of the human race through intermixing with the troglodytes Neanderthal DNA over the course of the generation, or over the course of generations. This begs to question if there's a connection between Baphomet and the biblical beast Behemoth. Perhaps there's a connection, and it would make perfect sense when we look at prophecies surrounding these creatures, or this creature. And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that Hamashiach shall then begin to be revealed, and Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. Those two great monsters which I created on the fifth day of creation. Those two monsters which I created on the fifth day of creation, and shall kept until that time, and then they shall be for food for all that are left. All right, and now we can see Bahama or Bahama, 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 beast. High place, frequent high place waves. All right, Bahama, Bahama. It is interesting also to know that, or to note, the Horites dwell in mountains, and this ancient beast, behemoth, shares same root as the word Bema, which means high place. It also shares the root word Behem or Bahama or Baham, which means tall creatures. We already know that the story of the Nephilim and giants in Torah, so this idea isn't far-fetched. I'm quite sure it is not all a coincidence. Perhaps Behemoth is the patriarch of Seir, the Horite. Maybe Seir is an offspring of the Nephilim. May the Most High continue to reveal these mysteries. And right there, I'm gonna say no. The Nephilim are another seed of Canaan. So basically, it's not linking them together. Horites are Horites of Or, and Or are the Indo-Europeans. Thus, put a whole new layer of understanding on what the Mashiach Yahushua, Hamashiach, or Messiah Yahushua, Hamashiach, said to the Pharisees in John chapter 8 verse 44, especially when you find out that historically at the time of the Edomite converts had seized control of the priesthood once the Romans took over Jerusalem. Once the Edomites took over Jerusalem. So now, ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abide not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. This was a lot to unpack so quickly, but wait. There's even more proof here, the Horite connection to not only Baphomet worship, but to the Neanderthals as well, the Indo-Europeans. Alright, how long is this? I'll keep going a little longer on this particular site, because I have tons of proof on this, so I'm just cherry picking through. Well, I'm not even cherry picking, I'm trying to read thoroughly so that way you can get a clear understanding of all of the information that I found. So Tishbon was the son of Seir, the Horite, and the father of Anah, whose daughter Ahalabama married Esau. His name means spotted with different colors. His name means spotted with different colors. Who is known from the beginning, or hold on. His name means Seir, and the father of Anah, whose daughter Ahalabama married Esau. Now the Horite, Hannah, his name means spotted with different colors. who is known for being pale-faced while spotted with different colors. People with freckles. What is the origin of the freckle gene? The Neanderthal gene. And it goes into it. But I won't read it. I'll keep going for time's sake. So encoded in the name of Esau's Horite's wife's grandfather is the ancient Hebrew word for freckles. And oddly enough, freckles comes from the Neanderthal genes. Spotted. Freckles are a cluster of cells that overproduce melanin granules. There are triggers by exposure to sunlight and are most noticeable on pale skin. BNC2 is one of the several skin color genes, and it influences saturations of skin color and freckles. It is a Neanderthal gene and is found in Eurasia population, most commonly in Europeans. 70% have at least one copy of the Neanderthal version. Alright, so basically that was one of the things they said, that the Neanderthal gene spread throughout Eastern Europe. I mean, it spread it all the way throughout Europe, period, and down into Central Asia. There's even more to be revealed in Genesis 36, alluding to the creation of Neanderthal hybrids through the intermingling of Edomites with the Baphomet Horite seed. This can be seen by taking a look again at Genesis 36:24, where it is mentioned that mules seen by Hannah in the wilderness as he fed his asses, and these are the children of Tishbon, both Ayah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Tishbon, his father. Did you know that Neanderthal men could not impregnate human women, but only human men could impregnate Neanderthal women? Wow. Fun fact, right? Fun fact. Did you know that Neanderthal men could not impregnate human women, but only human men could impregnate Neanderthal women? This is why all the Neanderthal DNA markers are found only in the maternal line, the mother's bloodline, In other words, it is inherited from the mother. The male Neanderthal lines were phased out during the infancy with human females. Infertility. The male Neanderthal lines were phased out due to infertility with human females. The fact that male Neanderthals are their hybrid offsprings had fertility issues with mating with human women makes them very similar to the hybridization between horses and donkeys in creation of the mule. The mule donkey can't progenerate. The mule in Genesis 36:24 was a symbol of the nation of the hybrid offspring between Anah's Horite Neanderthal troglodyte lineage with Esau's human lineage. Mules are most infertile and are produced when a male donkey impregnates a female horse, but not vice versa. Rarely can you make horses impregnate female donkeys. Thus, this verse symbolizes how there will be both human hybrids and purebreds living amongst one another in the wilderness, dry park places. Next, we are going to have a look at the ancient Hebrew word for donkey, ass. All right, so now he takes a look into the Hebrew word for donkey and ass. Hamar, hamar, hamar. Hayamar. Oh no. Hawamar. Hawamar. Alright. It's interesting to note that donkeys is that the donkey is the similar or synonymous, that the donkey is synonymous with darkness and blackness as well as tar. So the symbolization or symbolism of the donkeys in Genesis is a allegorical representation of black people mixing their seed to create hybrid offspring, which is significant or signified by the mule symbolization. So keep that in mind. I want to say this: the black people would be the Hamites, Canaan. Remember, there's no random fact when it comes to the Torah. There's no random facts when it comes to the Torah, for the Torah is factual. When an interesting sidebar is added to a verse as it was in Genesis 36:24, you must look deeper into the symbolization and not ignore it. Ask yourself, why would the fact that Hannah saw mules in the wilderness as he fed his father's donkeys be important to include in Esau's genealogy? When you take it into account that non-human troglodyte Neanderthal origins of the Horite race through their shaggy hair goat devil Behemoth patriarch Seir, and with the human mixing in with Esau and his seed, you can see this intermixing creating a hybrid offspring race, which is symbolized by the mules in the wilderness with the donkey. Now that I've laid the basic foundation of my ancient Hebrew understanding of Esau's lineage, let's revisit some scriptures with this understanding. All right, so now he's going through the different understandings of the scripture. But for time's sake, I'm going to keep pressing on. Or do I want to read this? Okay, I'm going to read this. Okay, let's unpack now this. Now let me offer a disclaimer. This is one of many interpretations of the parable, so I am in no way indicating that this is the only explanation. These parables are told in such a way to unveil many mysteries through the Ruach HaKodesh, or through Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. Alright, the offspring of the hybrids created through this Neanderthal Horite bloodline has complicated things for the human genome. Esau has spread his hybrid offspring throughout the world to create the white and Arab races. But some of his offspring has mixed back into the black race, especially during the Arab slave trade and during the Moorish reign in medieval Europe. Likewise, others of the original black tribes have mixed in with these hybrids to create other new white tribes, such as the sons of Japheth. Well, Japheth is the Horite that they're talking about, so he doesn't realize that yet. The Canaanites and some of the other sons of Shem. So much so that it is very difficult to tell someone's lineage through appearance alone, like in an ancestor, like in ancient times. So you don't do that nowadays. The Messiah has a solution in this parable. Let the wheat and the tares grow up together, and let the Spirit bear witness unto the harvest of Yah. When he gathers the tares, Satan's seed, and burns them, then the Most High will gather the wheat and store them in his barn, which symbolizes the kingdom of Yah. There seems to be a bit of confusion surrounding the connection between the Horites and the Neanderthals. One thing it is, but they're the same. One thing must be noted. As stated in my article, Neanderthal white men were infertile with human black women or human black women. Only human black men could mate with and impregnate Neanderthal women. But you can actually say it with a human female period. Therefore, Seir, the Horite, was a Neanderthal hybrid with a Neanderthal mother and a human father, most likely from the Hivite tribe of Canaan. Some scholars are unsure if Hivite in Genesis was mistranslated or was a mistranslation, while others cite the Horite genealogy in Jasher to connect them with the Canaanites. I won't elaborate on that picture. What some Hebrew Moras fail to acknowledge and understand is that although your tribal lineage is inherited from your father, your ethnicity and genetic makeup comes from both the mother and the father. Evidence of this is when black men have children with white women. The children share their mother's white phenotype and DNA with their father, and interracial offspring are a blend of these two races, phenotypical. And Seir, the son of Sheor, son of Shever, son of Canaan, went and found a valley opposite to Mount Paran, and he built a city there, and he and his 7 sons and household dwelt there, and he called the city which he built Seir, according to his name. That is the land of Seir unto this day. A Horite, Neanderthal male, or Indo-European, Yamnaya. So back to the Horites. Even if Jasher 10:28 is true, and Seir was a descendant of Canaan, he was a descendant of Canaan on his mother's side. Keep going. It's evident through the study of ancient Hebrew that the Canaanite Hivite mated with the Neanderthal women to create the Horite Neanderthal hybrid tribes. This abominable intermixing created the Neanderthal hybrid patriarch Seir, which means in ancient Hebrew hairy, shaggy goat devil, who was a Horite, which means white cave dweller in ancient Hebrew. The truth was hidden in plain sight all this time. This Neanderthal hybrid Seir inspired Behemoth idol worship for generation as a form of ancestor veneration for the patriarch of these heathens. The truth is not hate speech, not at all. Their soul is much more to cover in regards to this topic that will be added with. Alright, so he's talking about he's going to add more to it, and I'm going to keep, like I said before, he's right, because I found so much that it just blew my mind. Then I finally connect. Well, I keep going. All right, this is from Wikipedia. On the Horites, and I want to go. Here. The ancestry of Seir, the Horite, is not specified. Some say Seir lived around the time of Terah's father of Abraham. He is also said to be a descendant of Hor, who is supposed to have lived around the time of Reu, and was a descendant of Hevi, son of Canaan. Alright, on his mother's side, he was an Indo-European or Neanderthal hybrid mixed with a Hivite. Alright. Sons of Canaan, Ham, son of Ham. They are also linked to the Raphaim. Because that's a descendant of the Hivites or Canaan. Even though they are not explicitly called Raphaim in the biblical text. The pre-Edomite Horite chiefs, descendants of Seir, are listed in the book of Genesis. Two of these chiefs would appear to have been female. Timana and Olabayama. Timana is famous for being the progenitor of the Amalekites, the alchemy of the Israelites, the arch enemy of the Israelites. All right, so I'm gonna keep pressing on for time's sake. Plus, I'm getting tired. I couldn't really. All right, I'll try to read this for your sake. 20 years after the pronunciation, do I want to read this? This is from Esau and Amazing Bible. I mean, it's just still beating over the head. The fact that Indo-Europeans were Neanderthal Europeans that mixed with the seed of Japheth, or it's a Japheth seed that started to mix with the Hivites and the Hittites, or Hittites and Hivites, and they confusing the Horites with the Hivites, which are actually of Hori. The Horites and the Hivites are basically the same descendants, while you have the Hittites, which is actually a separate, which are of Canaan. So one is coming from the Horites, the Hittites, or Hivites. The Horites and the Hivites are coming from Japheth, and then the Hittites are coming from Canaan. And of course, Ishmael is Ishmael. All right, 20 years after the pronunciation of the birthright of Esau's brother. Do I want to read that? This really isn't important, so I'm not going to read it for time's sake, plus for eyes' sake. All right, let's go here. All right. This is further, I guess, Indo-European migration. So now we go through Indo-European migration from Wikipedia. Let's go through back to where I was at first. Indo-European languages. No, let's not go there. And you can look it up yourself, but I'm going to start right here. Won't you go lay down? The Indo-Hittite hypothesis. The Hittite hypothesis postulates a common predecessor which both the Anatolian languages and the other Indo-European languages came from, called Paleo-Indo-Hittite. Paleo-Indo-Hittite. Although Paleo-Indo-European language had predecessors, the Indo-Hittite hypothesis is not widely appreciated, and there is little to suggest that it is possible to reconstruct a Paleo-Indo-Hittite stage that differs substantially from what is already reconstructed from Paleo-Indo-Europeans. So basically they're saying that these two languages are so similar. Why? Because they dwelt in caves together. They communicated with each other. The Canaanites, or the Hittite branch of the Canaanites, they dwelt in caves along with Hor, or Seir, the son of Hor. Alright, so Frederick Colandet postulates a shared common ancestry of Indo-Europeans and Uralic, Proto-Indo-Uralic as a possible Proto-European, as Proto-European. According to Colandet, Indo-European is a branch of Indo-Uralic which was radically transformed under the influences of the North Caucasian substratum when its speakers moved from the area north of the Caspian Sea to the area north of the Black Sea. Alright, so now from this it just goes on to it. I don't think it's very much informative. So if you have the time, take the time out to read it. But I won't for time's sake again. I'll keep saying that because like I said before, I'm almost at the end of this presentation anyway. So I'm gonna just keep going thumping through it thumping through it. Alright. Now keep in mind all of this is to, especially once he gained access to or Indo-European. Esau went into Indo-European blood, which is Japhet. Then Esau went into a white race of Canaanite. Then Esau established his kingdom and basically merged with a lot of Indo-Europeans, and his women of choice were fair-skinned, put it like that. Alright, so now let's go here. Biblical dictionaries, Hivites and Hittites, or Hittites and Hivites. Non-Semitic minorities within the population of Canaan, who frequently became involved in the affairs of the Israelites. Hittite and Hivites, or Horite, peoples of Indo-European origin identified with the population of Canaan, because the Indo-Europeans now had a Hittite mother, so therefore that genealogy went down through from the that genealogy from the mother side went down into Canaan, while the Horite was the actual Indo-European within the population of Canaan as son of Canaan. In the tables of nations, Genesis 10, verse 15, Genesis rated from their cultural and political centers in the northern and settled in throughout Palestine. Although the history and culture of the Hittites is being clarified, although culture of the Hittites is being clarified, a problem exists with the so-called Hivites, a name of unknown origin. Horites, Hivites, are origin without extra biblical reference that they were uncircumcised, would suggest an Indo-European rather than Semitic origin. The more acceptable identification therefore would be within or with the book biblical Horites, whose history and character are well known from extra biblical sources and consistent with the role attributed to them in the biblical text. The Septuagint reader Kurios or Horios for Masoretic Hivite. The Septuagint reading Horite for the Masoretic Hivite in Genesis 34:2 and Joshua 9:7 suggests this identification. Horites and Horites. Horites in the biblical Hittites. Horites in the biblical Hittites. Hittites in the biblical Hittites appear among the ethnic groups living in urban enclaves or as individuals in Canaan, interacting with the Israelites from patriarchal times to the end of the monarchy. As a significant segment of the Canaanite population. Why? Because of Seir and his mother being a Hittite. Population, the children of Heth predominantly became identified as son of Canaan. In patriarchal times, the referencing the king Tidal in Hittite Tahaliah is a possible link to early imperial Hittite. In Canaan, the Hittites established a claim on the southern hill country, especially the Hebron area. As a result, Abraham lived among this native population as a stranger and a sojourner. He was forced to purchase the cave of Machpelah from Ephron, the Hittite or Hebron the Hittite as a family tomb, specifically from the immediate burial of Sarah. Esau's marriage to two Hittite women, daughters of Heth, daughters of the land, greatly grieved and displeased his parents. Geographical reference to all the land of the Hittites, Joshua chapter 1 verse 4, on the northern frontier of the promised land may indicate a recognition of the Hittite/Egyptian border treaty established by Ramses II and the Hittites under King Hastilius III about 1270 BC. Moses' listing of the inhabitants of the promised land indicated the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Hittites and Hivites, Horites, and Jebusites. A situation that was confirmed by the 12 spies sent to explore the land. They reported that Amalekites appeared. The Amalekites occupied the Negevs. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites, the Hittites, Amalek's groups, which are the Hivites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites lived in the hill country, and the Canaanites were consecrated along the Mediterranean coast and the Jordan Valley. Thus, the Hittites were doomed to displacement by the infiltrating and invading Hebrews coming in to the Promised Land. Why is this here? Alright, I'll go here, because this basically is going into the intermixing with the Hittites and Esau's population and all. Now, I find this interesting because, like I said, the Hittites or Hivites and the Horites are basically the same people, and the Horites are Indo-Europeans. So now, speakers of an Indo-European language appeared to have arrived in Anatolia from the north shortly before 4000 BC, and gradually spread southward. These, which are Japhet, these northwestern Anatolian settlers between 4000 and 3000 BC spoke an early form of Greek. The impression in central Anatolia is of a general peaceful spread of the influence and language from the south, and to the lesser extent from the west of Indo-Europeans, whose ancestors recently arrived from southern Europe, whose ancestors have originally arrived from southern Europe as a result from 3000 to 2000 BC. Much of Anatolia was occupied by various Indo-European elements who spoke closely related languages that included Hittite and Lawayan, the Arzawans. However, soon after 1800 BC, the kings of Kashara on the eastern frontier of Indo-European Anatolia assumed control. They conquered Kanesh and other central cities and established their capital at Hittisus. Their language by this time clearly an archaic from Hittite. Form of Hittite was written in the hieroglyphic scriptures, the hieroglyphic script. The iconograph of the hieroglyphic scripture clearly suggests Western origin. Hieroglyphic Hittite continued as the principal spoken language throughout the Imperial and Neo-Hittite periods to about 700 BC. I'll just go ahead and stop there. I want to go ahead and do this next. This is from the Jewish Encyclopedia. Okay, y'all. And they giving a description of the Hittites. Let's see. Where do I want to go? All right, ethnology and religion, religion. So right here, I wish I could blow it up a little bit bigger, but I can't. The Hittites as shown on both their own and the Egyptian monuments were clearly Mongoloid type. Oh, I can blow it up. The Hittites as shown both on their own and on Egyptian monuments were clearly Mongoloid in type. They were short and stout, prognathosis or prognathosis, and had rather receding foreheads. Their cheekbones were high. Their nose was large and straight, forming almost a line with the forehead, and the upper lip protruded. They were yellow in color. With black hair and eyes, and beardless. While according to the Egyptian painting, they wore their hair in pigtails, although this characteristic or characteristic does not appear in the Hittite scriptures, the pigtails. But we are actually talking about the Hittites, or the Hittites. Now, this is coming from Canaan. Was Canaan's curse? I'll save it for the end. But now this is a bloodline from Canaan that mixed with Esau, that mixed with the Horites, the Indo-Europeans, the line of Japheth, and Esau, and Canaan, the cursed part of Canaan, all combined into one, Esau. All right, they were yellow in color with black hair and eyes and beards, while according to the Egyptian paintings, they wore their hair in pigtails. Although this characteristic does not appear in the Hittite sculptures, they would seem to have come, therefore, from the northeast of the Mesopotamia, northeast the Semitic side of the Yamnai tribe, and to have worked south in Palestine and western into Asia Minor. In Palestine, however, they lost their ethnicity or their ethnic individuality to a large extent, and adapted their languages and their names to those of Semites or Hamites. Well, kind of both. In religion, the Hittites were in great part dependent on the Babylonians. The chief god, according to the Egyptian scriptures, was Sedekah or Satyrs, and the chief goddess was Antarata, who later became Attar, respectively. The Artargetus, and Dercito of the classics, and Antarata composed closely in attributes and in art with the Babylonian Ishtar. So they had their gods. So that's going out for all of you people that try to say that Yahweh, or I don't know who Yahweh is, but Yahweh is affiliated with the Babylonian god. Maybe he is. I don't know, but I know Yahweh is not. Her husband seems to have been the sun god. So basically it's going through the different gods that they actually believed in, and then their monuments. The Hittite monuments are numerous and are found over a wide extent of territory. Now here's a Hittite monument right here. Mongoloid, long, throughout the sloped forehead, pale complexion. You could tell that they had color. They made the hair darker, black like they, or tried to make it black like they said, but that's a light tone. A light tone and all. So I'm just gonna go ahead and end it with this, because like I said before, I can go on and on. All of these Edomites, all of these are sites that pertain to the Neanderthals, mixing with the Hivites, and the Neanderthal Hivites, the Neanderthal Hivites, mixing with the Canaanite Hittites, the Neanderthal Hivites / Horites mixed with Esau and Mount Seir as a descendant of the Horites, and then Esau, they became one people, and then Esau took him on 2 Hittite wives, and then his son got a Horite wife. So further on along, pushing the bloodline of Esau into the Horites or Indo-Europeans. Indo-Europeans / Horites / Hivites are synonymous, meaning the same. They're the same people, while the Hittites are coming from the bloodline of Canaan. And from what I read here, the Hittites of Canaan were yellow in complexion. Thus makes me believe that the Hittites were of light complexions. The Horites were hairy of light complexion, Esau, a ruddy reddish type of complexion, and he meant to intermingle with them in order to get into, or the house of Shem, in order to, or in order to mingle with Japheth. Canaan helped Japheth live in the tents of Shem, as far as religion, as far as trying to replace us by having the Edomite, Horite, Indo-Europeans that's in control of Jerusalem, Israel today. I know that was a lot to take in, and for you people of non-believing descent, I just have this to play for you right here. Hit for the left. Like I said before, Esau, the Hittites of Canaan, because Canaan was cursed, and the curse wasn't just to be a slave, but his curse was turning from Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, to Canaan, a progenitor of a cursed race that was not of his father's complexion. I know that's a lot to take in, but whoop, whoop. So don't flip your wig over it. Whoop. All right, until next time, thanks for tuning in. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom, Mishpacha. Hope you have a blessed day and stay at peace. One.